Hans agreed most joyfully, and the peasant, swinging himself into the saddle, was soon out of sight, and Hans went along, driving his cow quietly before him, and thinking all the while of the fine bargain he had made. With only a piece of bread I shall have everything I can possibly want, for I shall always be able to have butter and cheese to it, and if I am thirsty I have nothing to do but to milk my cow. And what more is there for heart to wish? And when he came to an inn he made a halt, and in the joy of his heart ate up all the food he had brought with him, dinner and supper and all, and bought half a glass of beer with his last 2 farthings. Then on he went again, driving his cow, until he should come to the village where his mother lived. It was now near the middle of the day, and the sun grew hotter and hotter, and Hans found himself on a heath which it would be an hour's journey to cross, and he began to feel very hot and so thirsty that his tongue clove to the roof of his mouth. "Never mind," said Hans, "I can find a remedy. I will milk my cow at once." And tying her to a dry tree, and taking off his leather cap to serve for a pail, he began to milk, but not a drop came, and as he sat to work rather awkwardly, the impatient beast gave him such a kick on the head with her hind foot that he fell to the ground, and for some time could not think where he was, when luckily there came by a butcher who was wheeling along a young pig in a wheelbarrow. "Here's a fine piece of work," cried he, helping poor Hans on his legs again. Then Hans related to him all that had happened, and the butcher handed him his pocket flask, saying, "Here, take a drink and be a man again. Of course the cow would give no milk. She is old and only fit to draw burdens or to be slaughtered." "Well, to be sure," said Hans, scratching his head. "Who would have thought it? Of course it is a very handy way of getting meat when a man has a beast of his own to kill. But for my part I do not care much about cow beef. It is rather tasteless. Now if I had but a young pig, that is much better meat, and then the sausages." "Look here, Hans," said the butcher, "just for love of you I will exchange, and will give you my pig instead of your cow." "Heaven reward such kindness!" cried Hans, and handing over the cow, received in exchange the pig, who was turned out of his wheelbarrow, and was to be led by a string. So on went Hans, thinking how everything turned out according to his wishes, and how, if trouble overtook him, all was sure to be set right directly. After a while he fell in with a peasant who was carrying a fine white goose under his arm. They bid each other good day, and Hans began to tell about his luck, and how he had made so many good exchanges, and the peasant told how he was taking the goose to a christening feast. "Just feel how heavy it is," said he, taking it up by the wings. "It has been fattening for the last 8 weeks, and when it is roasted, won't the fat run down?" "Yes, indeed," said Hans, weighing it in his hand. "Very fine to be sure, but my pig is not to be despised."